Before I came into the program, I thought of education as simply what happened in the four walls of the schoolhouse. I didn't really have a much more of a conceptual understanding of education other than what we typically do at schools in terms of testing and assessments and sorting and measuring kids.
I thought it was going to be the standards because, you know, that's all you hear about in your undergrad and your master's. These are the standards you have to teach. This is how you have to teach it. And when I heard curriculum studies, all I could think of was the standards.
I was like, wait a second, what have I gotten into? Because this isn't the ABC of curriculum I thought we were going to get into. This is a little deeper. It's more theory, more philosophy, more about drawing in analogies, more so than just talking about specific numbers and data and statistics.
I expected the kinds of things that we would get in what they call in-service education in school, something more narrowly focused, something more finite, you know, less open-ended. But, you know, I was pleased that it was what it was.
I loved the idea of having to think again and write again. I had kind of forgotten that I could write, and I had kind of forgotten that I could think.
I did find some surprises in the things that I actually didn't know that were going on in education. I thought you went in the classroom, you did your work, and the quieter that it was, the more teaching was going on, and I found just the opposite.
The program challenged me in every way that I think about education. I've told friends, at the beginning of every semester you get this stack of books that's going to make your head spin. And then you go through them and finish that class, and then the next class you get a stack of books that's going to make your head spin. And it just happens over and over. And it changes everything about your thinking, not even just about education.
In what other ways?
About culture, about society, about justice.
I really began to see about how education can be about, you know, creating social justice, creating change, you know, making differences in children's lives and parents' lives and educators' lives. So I began to see, you know, education differently. This is the best money I spent so far.
It was definitely more of an affirmation that I wasn't crazy, and the way that I was thinking, like, that there's serious problems that we need to be dealing with, and no one seems to recognize them. And not only do they not recognize them, no one talks about them, and when you do talk about them, the subject has changed. Like, all those things that I'd been feeling and seeing were now relevant.
I found more of not a how-to, but a why. And I gained deeper understanding of what was going on in the public schools and why things were the way they were.
I felt like I was home, you know, in the sense of just being able to be myself and talk about things with people and not feel threatened or feel like I was like, oh man, my ideas are really far out. And I couldn't believe the quality of teaching. I mean, the scholarship that was here.
The faculty might be the very best part of the program because every person brings something special, something unique, be it their area of expertise, might be unique and special and different and interesting, or what they know, or their cultural background, and but every person takes you to different places.
I found the faculty to be really diverse in a really wonderful way, that everyone was different, and that encouraged me to not have to be one particular way to be successful in that program.
I went through college and worked with Black administrators, and they helped me to navigate my existence on campuses. But it wasn't until my doctoral program where I met a white man professor who then validated my Blackness. And it really took me off for a while because it took that to validate who I was. And then a little bit later on into the program, it took a Chinese woman to help me to understand that it's different being a Black woman than it is a Black person in general.
You can tell they care, and they're scholars. And, you know, they're not just there for a paycheck or the, you know, integrity that comes along with working at a university. You know, they're working on interesting things. They're encouraging you to work on whatever you want to.
I was used to being told. So I, kept asking, what do you want us to write about? Whatever you want to write about. Those were the kinds of responses that I got. And that was very different because it gave me ownership of my curriculum.
They understood that lived experiences bridged that gap between theory and practice.
When I was early in the program, every professor I would think, this one's my favorite. And then I would learn something else and be in somebody else's class and go, oh, I really like this one. So it wasn't really about favorites anymore. It was just, I love this program.
They just open space. They understand creativity. And I'm a creative person. I'm an artist, a guitarist. And to me, they understand the creative process. And the process of creativity emerges. And I feel that I have the space to emerge.
I felt like at the end of the matrix where he can read the code, that's how I felt at the end of the program, that I could really see what was going on.
Carter G. Woodson said, if you can control a person's thinking, you can control their actions. So what I learned most, I think, about this program is the importance of thinking critically about everything around me. And so once I was empowered to think about how things impacted me, in addition to everything else around me, my decisions were different.
It's given me the language to explain a vague uneasiness that I had for years working in education, but I didn't have the vocabulary to express it. I didn't have the confidence to express it, and that, I think, that is the major thing that I took out of this program, was the ability to stand up to other teachers and administrators and question with a lot of validity what was going on in education.
I realized too that even me as a social worker affected the curriculum of students, how I approach students. Was I approaching them as a problem, more so as these students who are having difficulties and challenges have something to offer in terms of what is wrong with the system, as opposed to what is wrong with them.
In many ways, education has always been a political football, but we happen to be in a phase now where education is being used as a scapegoat for certain things, and I think the program sort of made me aware that this was happening, and so it gave me an ability to sort of step outside what I'm doing, in my school, or at least see what we're doing in terms of the focus on certain testing standards, the focus on certain buzzwords.
As a regular teacher, if you don't know the theory, you don't care that what you're doing is wrong, as long as you think you're doing what's right. But having that theory piece forced me anyway to think about, okay, I know my objectives say this, the district says this, but all that's wrong. I shouldn't be doing that. I've got to actually teach my children this.
I remember being told time and time again that the reason that we go to school is to get good grades, and we get good grades so we can get into a good college, and we get into a good college so we can get a good job. And we do that because we want to make a lot of money, and we do that because we want to buy a lot of stuff. And I just didn't want to parrot back a understanding of education to my students when they ask what matters and why is this important. I want to be able to talk to them and to say these lessons in some sense are going to prepare you to understand and engage the things that you're passionate about, the things that are going to make you the person that you could become. And I wanted to be able to say that and believe it, and I think I do now.